Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to look at what happened when President-elect Donald Trump has just made his speech on Wednesday the 11th of January. But before we look at the charts, I'd like to remind you all of our risk disclaimer and remind you that all examples in these videos should be considered as hypothetical. No trades were taken. They're shown for illustration and training purposes only. There's risk of loss in trading and investing. Remember, all professional traders know that losses can and will and do happen. I'll remind you of that. Losses can and will and do happen. All trade decisions your own responsibility. Let's skip over to the chart. And here is the YM. And as you can see, the market opened and then rallied up, where we had a VS automatic setup on a black MTP trend that nailed the high absolutely perfectly just before the market shot down as Trump started his news conference. But I want to show you what you are looking at in advance on that. Remember, we go to the higher time frame chart. For this, you go to the 15-minute chart. If we're looking at a 3-minute chart, and we'd place our DPs on our chart using our previous swing highs and lows. So before this even opened, before today even opened, you'd have had a high here. You right mouse click, place decision point on your chart. Remember, this would have been on the chart even before today even opened. So that would be in a resistance area there waiting for you. And look what happened. The market rallied up and look where the high unfolded. If we now go down to the 3-minute chart, can you see that? That was our 15-minute resistance zone on our chart that was there before the market even opened, and the market rallied up, and that's exactly where our VS setup unfolded. If you guys are more experienced as well, let's right mouse click over here. Let's do Elliott Wave Intermediate. You can see the rally up here was also a 5-wave sequence. Just clear that all off. But the main point is this was a VS setup at our higher time frame resistance that was on your chart in advance. You'd been anticipating this was an area of where the market was likely to make a reversal. Let's place our analysis on. Right mouse click, do analysis over the red cell bar, and you can see this is what the market did as Trump started to talk. Fell down and down and down and down, but just look where the fall stopped. Right at our anticipated target. Tagged it there absolutely perfectly. The result was a nice 5-hour profit. In other words, it turned an initial risk of about $360, which is less than 2% of a sample $20,000 account, into a profit of about $1,800. A very, very nice trade indeed. Just want to remind you all that losses can and will and do happen. You can see here there were a couple of losing trades here yesterday. They're on the chart there for you. There's one there. Can you see there's a history triangle there? Right mouse click, do the analysis. That would have ended up in a loss. It's always important to look at losing trades. So that would have been a losing trade, but that would have been a -1 hour loss, or one risk unit. Clear everything off. There was also a TS3 sell a bit later in the day yesterday. Let's do the analysis there. And it didn't reach the target, but you'd have probably come out on the close there for a nice, plus 2.9, just under 3-hour profit. So I just wanted to show those on the chart for you, because there's nothing worse than when someone looks at a chart and you can see there was a losing trade on there, and the software guru doesn't mention it. So I just wanted to cover that there as well. But this is the main one I wanted to look at. This VS setup that nailed the high here absolutely perfectly and called the decline as Trump started to do his news conference. The result was a lovely 5-hour profit. Also, if we look at the 24-hour chart, this is a regular trading hours chart here, but if we look at the 24-hour chart, here's my own analysis I had on the chart as well, and exactly the same thing. If I clear it off, here's a last high. So this is a 15-minute chart on the 24-hour chart. Here's our last high. We right mouse click, DP. This is an area where we'd anticipate resistance, and as you can see, this is exactly where the market reversed before we had the sharp decline. And in fact, it went down into the DP off that low there as well. So both on the 24-hour chart and on our day session only chart, which are our regular trading hours, the high came in right at our 15-minute DP resistance area. Remember, that would have been on the chart in advance. So as the market was rallying up here, you'd be preparing for a potential short trade up in that resistance zone. So when the VS setup came in, That was an absolutely perfect opportunity to go short. Position sizing kept the initial risk under control. Market straight down to the first target there, where a potential 5R profit was available. So a great example of how MTPredictor basically has nailed a lovely move in the markets where the sharp fall was caused by complete and utterly unforeseen action. In other words, Donald Trump doing his press conference, but MTPredictor nailed it absolutely perfectly.